let's get to AOC because this is a quick video and article here. This is case study QBs. Now we covered part of this. We didn't cover the whole thing, and it was a very short snippet that we covered that was on Twitter. But he found the full video on Instagram, curated it, and put it up. So like it's so much we're gonna be debunking here, but this is her. I can't believe she posted this. She posted this. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't see the whole thing. I seen clips of it, and when I saw the little bit that I did see, I had the same reaction. I was like, "Yo, she posted this."
Yeah, she posted this, which is just completely weird to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is AOC on IG. Let's just give it that name. That's pretty easy name. And I do these for Aaron. So let's get to this story. Where am I? And here we go. And let's listen to AOC, and she's talking about forced to vote.
And it really goes to show how much you need of a coalition in order to really forcefully negotiate for these things. So when people say, why don't we do this? First of all, there's a lot of cost and dysfunction. Second of all, those people who are holding out right now, they may have made certain structural gains, but they have also made incredible reputation.
That wasn't the question. How come you don't do it is the question. Let me just rewind it since we only was 7 seconds in.
I want her to finish that thought, and I want to hear what she just said, because this is actually crazy. Because I know she's not about to say what I know she's not about to say what I think she's about to say. I know she's not about to say what I think she's about to say. So go ahead, CJ. I want to say it first. I got feelings.
So, but everybody pay attention to the question she's supposed to be answering is why don't the left do what the Freedom Caucus just did?
And it really goes to show how much you need of a coalition in order to really forcefully negotiate for these things. So when people say, why don't we do this? First of all, there's a lot of cost and dysfunction. Second of all, those people who are holding out right now, they may have made certain structural gains, but they have also made incredible reputational and relational harm within their caucus. And so if you are trying to get something done within your caucus moving forward, you still need members of your caucus. And that
hold up, AOC. Hold up. Wasn't you kicked off your committee assignments for being good? Yeah. And now look at her perspective. Her perspective is, oh my God, they're hated by Washington, D.C. They're hated by Washington, D.C. Bro, Lauren Boebert gained a ton of followers. The right-wing base has been praising her. That is what you're supposed to care about, AOC. She's telling her herself. She's saying that she cares more about being approved and loved by D.C. than she cares about representing her constituents. And her strategy failed. Because despite the fact that she was a good little girl, voted for Nancy Pelosi, she was stripped from committee assignments. And what is the cost of that, AOC? You're now more unpopular than Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. So you talking about the blow to their reputation? Nigga, have you seen your approval rating?
How it's such a flimsy excuse, because she's saying, like, listen, the professional managerial class is so known for just making up concepts out of the air, putting words together, and that's a concept. That's what she does right here. So let's listen closely. I'm going to rewind it maybe 7 seconds here for us to catch the point that she makes.
Reputational and relational harm.
That's not a thing. I swear that's not a thing.
And in order to really forcefully negotiate for these things. So when people say, why don't we do this? First of all, there's a lot of cost and dysfunction. Second of all, those people who are holding out right now, they may have made certain structural gains, but they have also made incredible reputational and relational harm within the.
Now, listen to what she just said there. Listen to what she just said. She just told us what's important. She said they may have made structural gains, which is the fucking point.
Yes.
They may have made structural gains, but look what they gave up. Relationship and what did she say? Reputational problems. She just told you relationship reputational problems is more important than structural gains. That's what she just said, Nick.
Some clown shit, man. Unbelievable. That's such a good point, CJ. Unbelievable. Let's continue the video. All right,
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So unbelievable. And so if you are trying to get something done within your caucus moving forward, you
done like what? Structural gains? This is clown shit. Done like what? Cutting the military by $75 billion?
And like what Rajo said here is, and this is what I literally was just thinking. That's why I put this comment up. Like, Rajo, you read my brain. I'm watching at this point, like, dude, the AOC simps I see all the time on Twitter. The people who still, like, the subscribers, the people that watch this. Like, this is her base. She's talking to them, not us. The amount of disrespect she is showing those people. And I'm thinking, like, how are they taking this? You guys are literally falling for this? There are teenagers, there are young leftists that have followed AOC on Instagram for this? This is the content that you guys like AOC for. This is literally mind-shatteringly bad. But continue, CJ.
Yeah, and it's because just like that guy in that Ukraine video, these are the most propagandized. These are the people you go, if she tweeted the letter A, they retweeted, AOC said, hey, look at this shit. She knows, like, literally, doesn't have to provide no evidence, nothing. If she says it, the people who are following her saying that's it. Go ahead.
And you want to know what's funny? We talking about her audience. And I'm sure she got some hate followers, right? Hate watchers. But are she picking those comments out? No. What's the question? She's being questioned by her own sycophants. I mean, the people that watch her on Instagram, and these are the people that she comfortable picking their questions out. Even they are like, hey, AOC, why didn't you do that shit the right wingers doing? You see, the Pandora's box is open, guys. Even the people who are most loyal to AOC are just asking them this question, like, yo, AOC, we love you, queen. I think you're the best queen, but can you explain why you didn't do the thing that the right wing did? It seemed like the right wing was successful. Can you explain this? And that's why that's the question. Remember with Anna and on TYT? She didn't want to talk about that shit. She would respond to the question like, all right, since you guys are asking me, I'm gonna talk about it now. So even the followers that TYT is grooming, the followers that AOC is grooming, even they are like, man, you guys are kind of fucking wrong on that force vote thing, aren't you? So let's continue the video.
Oh, that's such a good point. All right, so let's listen.
Still need members of your caucus. And that at the core is an element of electoral politics that is simply inescapable.
Being nice to your friends, having to be nice to your friends is inescapable, is what she's saying. Me having to be nice to Nancy Pelosi and call her Mama Bear is inescapable, is what she's telling us.
Even when you look at someone like Bernie Sanders' tenure in the House, where he was the amendment king, you needed your party to pass your amendments. And so, you know.
One, Bernie wasn't a Democrat, supposedly. And two, people voted for those amendments because they were popular. You think Bernie was out there whipping votes? The fuck out of here. I mean, he probably whipped a few, but I mean, get the fuck out of here.
She contradicted herself, and she's gaslighting her own audience because she just everyone acknowledged the right wing got what they asked. But then she goes around and say, well, in order to get stuff done, you got to do it the ineffective way that we've been trying for the last 5 years, and we got nothing done. Well, but the question is like, what about the right wing who got shit done doing the exact opposite of what you just said? So I don't know how long she's been talking here, but she's doing that strategy where she said a lot of stupid bullshit, and she hoped that you forget what the original point's about. So then eventually, like, what the fuck she talking about? Like, she's literally lulling you to sleep. But I'm listening to her like, you contradicted yourself multiple times, literally in the short amount of time we've been listening to you. Well, go ahead, CJ. Let's continue, because I'm sure she's going to do it again.
You have this faction that is in a lot of trouble moving forward, including despite having made certain structural gains. So a lot.
She did it again.
They're in trouble moving forward, despite having a lot of structural gains. She's basically telling us, I ain't willing for that. I ain't trying to have nobody hate me at the gala. Are you crazy? We already hate you. Have you seen your poll numbers? Like doing it, like just do it. Like we already do it. We already hate you. But
so they're gonna be really hurt by what they did, because if you do that, you're not gonna get anything done. If you do what I do, if you make relationships, that's how you get amendments passed. but they got structural change at the same time. Like she is contradicting herself, literally sentence after sentence. But let's continue.
I wonder if her audience can pick that up. But
I really wonder. I mean,
this was like very bloody. Like think of it like a really bloody bar fight. Like no one.
That's what we want. What do you think a political revolution looks like? When Bernie Sanders said political revolution, what do you think the shit was going to look like?
The professional managerial class don't want to get blood on their gala dress, their $10,000 gala dress, Nick. They ain't trying to do that.
This video way worse than I remember. I must have saw a short clip. This is unbelievable. This is way worse than I remember. Like I saw a short clip. I was like, man, this is horrible.
We didn't see this part. We saw like a different part that he clipped.
I saw a short part. I was like, I don't remember this being this goddamn bad. Jesus Christ.
Without any broken noses, with like, everyone has had some blood drawn, and we haven't even been sworn in yet. As opposed to the Democratic caucus.
What?
Now
what does that even mean? But continue.
The strength here, when you are in a minority, the play here is to be united as much as possible. Because if you don't have people who break, then you can pick off the other side with just a matter of a handful of people.
Nick, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? The Republican Party, as long as I ever remember, and people were saying this new Trumpism thing. Do you guys remember Mitch McConnell? Paul Ryan? These people refuse to work with Democrats, Obama, Joe Biden on anything. Anything. Democrats say up, Republicans say down. But AOC is now gaslighting her audience to the point in believing that Republicans are willing to get stuff done if you guys are orderly. And I'm asking you in the chat, when has this ever been the case? Republicans have always been obstructionists. But they've always been that way. But now, in order to apologize for her being weak, she's saying, "Well, if we are we're a nice orderly party, then maybe Republicans will work with us." Like what I am saying is not even a Marxist critique. Even Democrats will say Republicans will never work with them. But now, in order to defend herself, she's literally making bullshit that's not true.
But she's talking about the election deniers. The election deniers, they're gonna agree with her. Is that what she's talking about? The election, like it's the fascists, the people she calls fascists. They're gonna like it's so unbelievable. So let's I updated the banner because AOC pledges to put aside progressive policy. And now this last part she just said, we have to understand. She just said unity above all. Unity with who? Your party, your Democratic leadership, the corporate Democrats. You need those people. She just said you can't be rude to them. So let's listen.
The play here is to be united as much as possible, because if you don't have people who break, then you can pick off the other side with just a matter of a handful of people. So as long as Democrats don't, remain united in a minority, then all the votes you need to win on a certain thing are, depending on how a margin is, 3, 4, or 5. And people say Lauren.
So she's saying, force the vote the other way. Try to get 218 votes is what she's saying. Look, if all the Democrats, this is what she's saying, we stand together and they don't have enough votes to pass, they just got to pick off a couple of Republicans. So she's saying 218 votes instead of the very small amount of votes you have to do in order to get, but you're going to get that pushback that she doesn't want. Reputational and relationship problems or whatever the word that she used, right? Man. So, all right, so let's continue.
Boebert has more spine than you. Lauren Boebert won her race by 500.
This is a part where you heard, and she gets really offended.
Play that part again. Wow.
You can tell she's so offended by this.
Well, so she definitely heard people say that. And yes. She's addressing that. Now, I don't think she's really commenting. I may be wrong, but she's riffing and she says, well, I know some people say Lauren Boebert has got more guts than me. Nigga, she brought that up non-prompted. That's how you know that she put her up that night. Because,
so what does she come out and do? She comes out and not say what the strategy did was good or why she can't do that. She literally talks about how she barely won her election. That has nothing to do with the point that you're talking about, why you're even bringing her up. Go ahead.
And that's a bullshit reasoning. For one, that election was before this. So how can you use this instance and say, oh, well, she only won by 500 votes? Because she's misleading people to think that happened because of this, but that election happened before this forced to vote thing happened. Also, Lauren Boebert lives in a purple state. So, of course, her race is going to be more competitive. You live in a deep blue New York district that you have no Republican challenger that's ever going to win. Right. So then she said, oh, my God, I live in a deep blue district, so I'm safe. And she's attacking Lauren Boebert for struggling in an election. Yeah. She is a clown, by the way. That's why she struggled. To be clear, she's a clown. That's why she struggled. But that's apples and oranges, comparing your district to hers. And then using that to say, well, I'm more popular than her because I won my election cleanly. So that shows that what she did, even though what she did is after the election. Do you see how it's such a lie? Because that's what she's saying. She's saying, I did the right thing because I'm safer than Lauren Boebert. But that's literally such a fucking misleading statement in so many ways. And it's so how desperate she is. CJ, she's been thinking about this for days. Like, you know that Lauren Boebert shit been eating her up with people saying that she's going to have more guts than AOC. So she's like, let me think of a fucking comeback, nigga. I know. She only won by 500 votes. That's the only thing she can come up with. That's the only.
And 500 more people voted a different way, but they didn't. So what? You're pointing out she lives in a purple district and you live in like a D plus 95. Like, so, and what? So let's listen though.
How a margin is 3, 4, or 5. And people say Lauren Boebert has more spine than you.
Now, what does winning an election have to do with spine?
Exactly.
What does winning or losing by 500 votes have to do with spine? Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
No, to your point, just real quick. Remember, I explained this on stream like maybe a few months ago. According to the boutique left and the progressive left, their goal is to get elected. That is considered a victory to them. It's not what you do after you get elected. They get elected like, oh my God, we did it, we won. So that's why AOC bring this up, because she's groomed to. So when people, well, you think Lauren Boebert more gusty than me? Look, I won my election by more votes. That's what matters in DC. You guys see how she's been infected by DC brain? Didn't even take that. Go ahead.
So all of the left calling you out about forced to vote, you brush that shit off. Like, nigga, get the fuck out of me. But Lauren Boebert, a clown by your definition, AOC, that hurts you to the core. That you got to bring it up right here. Now, let's listen closely. You tell me you don't hear the anguish in her voice.
Yes.
Lauren Boebert won her race by 500 votes. Lauren Boebert took a Trump.
You don't see the attitude all of a sudden appear in her face?
Oh, yeah, she getting mad.
You didn't. I'm going to just rewind it. I'm going to rewind it to her normal face. And you don't tell me some of this don't come out. Like some of that don't come out about Lauren Boebert. You tell me you don't see that. This is normal, AOC.
Lauren Boebert has more spine than you. Lauren Boebert won her race by 500 votes. Lauren Boebert took a Trump plus 9 district and nearly lost it to an up-and-coming Democrat as an incumbent member of Congress. Lauren Boebert is dramatically weakened. And the people.
She don't say how. She just says she's weakened.
And then
that's all.
That election is before this. That election is before this. So if Boebert loses later, that's a fair point, right? But the question is, like, she's saying that Lauren Boebert did wrong by forcing the vote because of her election when the election happened before this. That's not a reason. Like, so she's deflecting on stuff that makes no sense. But go ahead.
She hasn't answered any of her own questions. She's posing the questions, and she ain't even answering her own questions, Nick.
Yeah, she's fighting her demons live on camera. That's why I can't believe she uploaded this, because she's really fighting her demons on camera. You can see that she's going through all the arguments she here made, and then she started bringing them up non-prompted. Let's continue.
Of Colorado nearly sent her packing. If 500 people voted differently that day, this would not be happening right now. And if you're a Republican, if you're a hard-standing Republican, she almost cost you your majority.
Why would you say that if you're a progressive?
Yeah.
Why would you say the person who did force the vote and extracted stuff, she almost cost you your majority? Doesn't that sound just like Democrat establishment? What side are you on, AOC?
I think at this point I'm gonna let her hang herself, because at this point you can tell that she's in shambles. She's in shambles, and I explained earlier on before she picked that comment out, that question, because she knew she had to address it, and she's floundering. I love the fact that this video confirms that she knows that she fucked up. That's what I get. But I let her hang herself at this point, because I think it's obvious that she knows she's in the wrong here.
If it, frankly, wasn't for the New York State Democratic Party and the New York State Democratic Party's leadership and the incompetence there, we would be having that gavel right now. If between them and Lauren Boebert, we would be having a Democratic majority at this moment. So, you know, this idea that like they are somehow winning, let's just also take a step back and observe that none of these debates resulted in any policy substance. None. This is not a caucus that is organized. The Freedom Caucus is not organized around any core policy issue. Progressives, we organize around Medicare for All. We organize around the Green New Deal. Like those concessions.
No, you don't.
That, even if it's not all the whole farm all at once, but the bill.
She just, where do you do that? Yeah, well, the right, they don't organize any policy. We organize in Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. Did when? These show up to the
like this is what Sam always asks. This is what Sam always asks. How does it manifest itself, AOC? How does it manifest itself? You're organizing for Medicare for All. And what was the other one she said she organizes for? Something else? When is it? What is it? When does this happen? Let me rewind it again, Nick. You let me know where you want to stop it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll play it again now. This is literally pure projection because what she says, the right does literally what she does. I'll explain after you play the video.
Absolutely.
That like they are somehow winning. Let's just also take a step back and observe that none of these debates resulted in any policy substance. None. This is not a caucus that is organized.
They decreased the military budget and got term limits, by the way. I disagree with like 80%, 90%, 95% shit they got done, right? But what AOC said is objectively not true because they got term limits, they got the ability to remove the speaker, and they decreased the military budget. So no matter if you disagree with everything else, that just shows that she lied. They got substantive policy shit. So that's a lie. But go ahead, let's continue.
Core policy issue. Progressives, we organize around Medicare for All. We organize around the Green New Deal.
When?
Like,
Medicare for All, she didn't show up. Green New Deal. What organizing have they done for that? You have never organized your 12 million or however many million followers you have. You have never done that.
CJ, she said, well, when you look at the right wing, when they forced to vote, they were forcing to vote on a bunch of bullshit. But what we fight for Medicare for All and Green New Deal. Bro, the question was, why didn't you do that about Medicare for All, AOC? So you literally, like every sentence I can pick apart what you just said. So she said, I fight for Medicare for All and Health and Green New Deal. Okay, if you fight for Medicare for All, why didn't you do the right-wing version of that? AKA force to vote. Jesus Christ. These people are so... I was about to say dumb, but she's malicious. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. But go ahead.
Those concessions that even if it's not all the whole farm all at once, but the building blocks to get us there, that's what we fight for and fight towards. But these folks, they're negotiating around committee assignments for themselves.
You guys was too. Nigga, the reason why they said they don't want to force the vote is because they said they need to protect their committee assignments. That is literally one of the main reasons the boutique left for use. But sorry, I can't interrupt them. Continue.
No, I'm saying she's obviously on the fly because she would have obviously, hey, I should probably take this out of this speech. Yeah. She's obviously on the fly because she should not have said that. You're making yourself look bad.
Yeah, and go back to the part when she says, let's go back like literally just 5 seconds. What she said, well, the right wing, what they're asking for is committee assignments. You see how they have to lie? Because if she actually said the truth, that would legitimize her argument. Why didn't AOC said, well, the right wing, they're looking to defund the military budget. The right wing looking for term limits. The right wing looking to have the ability to force a vote on the speaker. She doesn't come up with any of those things because they're lying by omission. And everyone been doing it. They pretend the right got nothing of substance, even though that's factually untrue. But let's continue.
Absolutely.
Those concessions that even if it's not all the whole farm all at once, but the building blocks to get us there, that's what we fight for and fight towards. But these folks, they're negotiating around committee assignments for themselves, certain rules changes. Not all of them are bad, mind you, but not all of them are good either. And they're really organized around grievance.
You know when she's talking about it's not good, The one she's talking about is not good is being able to recall the speaker. That's the one she's saying is not good. Like, and she is struggling. That's why it's like, why are you doing this and why are you rambling? She is
and why you post
struggling here.
I cannot believe, like, why you post this? Was it live and she had no choice? I'm assuming is that.
I think that might have been the case.
I'm assuming that's the only reason. I caught myself. I'm assuming the only reason this shit is up because this shit was live and she had no choice. But yeah, this is a horrific video. Like, I may be naive here, but I swear to God, this should be one of the videos that if you're an AOC Sigma fan, I think maybe like 30% might see this video like, whoa, something's up. I don't know, maybe I'm naive. But I don't think even people who, I'm taking my Marxism out of it. I'm taking my own biases out of it. I am thinking like, who is tricked by this, man? Like, it's almost depressing. Like, if you're one of AOC fans and you don't see past her after this, you're not going to. But go ahead, let's continue.
And so, I think sometimes people conflate the necessary work of outside organizing with the internal work of legislating. And the fact of the matter is, you cannot do one without the other. I mean, I do think there's a decent amount of organizing you can do outside of legislative goals. There's plenty. You can organize a tenants union.
I'm not going to help, though.
You can unionize your workplace. You can.
He said, yeah, there's a lot of outside games that we can do, but I'm not going to help you. The marches that we did. The Amazon union that called you out for not showing up. They're like, yeah, this is outside game. I'm not gonna help you though. Good luck with that shit, nigga.
You know what she's literally talking about? She's talking about what happened with Amazon. She's talking about you guys do all of the work, and I'm gonna come in right at the finish line with some water for y'all and say, we did it, just like she tried to do with the Amazon workers. That's literally what she's talking about. Outside inside game. That's what she's talking about.
Do all sorts of stuff. But the idea that you can push and emphasize legislative goals without an outside, that part I think is untenable, at least as a progressive. Actually,
so she's basically trying to say, so let's rewind back to force the vote. So if you participated in force the vote, why didn't you coordinate with the left movement that was pushing for force the vote so you could have pushed in the halls of Congress while you had an outside game on the outside? Like, what are you talking about? You are the inside and outside game. You have 12 million followers, subscribers, or whatever they call it. What are you even talking about? Let's listen.
Actually, just in general, because the right wing of the Democratic Party also organizes on the outside for their internal goals, but they do it with money. And as progressives, we have to do it with people. And so, when you have a base that focuses most of its ire towards the people on their side, because YouTube algorithms reward that, you're just playing into the hands of the capitalists who.
I have no idea what she's even talking about at this point. I don't even know. What are you answering? This is a CIA infiltration tactic. She's just rambling on, rambling, confused. And you just go, well, what are we talking about? She just rambles and rambles on. Let's listen to some more rambling here.
Who run those algorithms. And so I'm not saying that all these folks in these media outlets who stir these things up are bad. Far from it. There are incredible people doing very thoughtful work. But there are also a lot of people who make and determine what they're going to make their videos on based on YouTube views and based on algorithms. And those algorithms almost always reward left infighting. That's what.
I can't believe she just said that. I gotta rewind this because I didn't get this far, and we're almost to the end of the video. 2 minutes left, less than 2 minutes. I didn't hear this part. This is unbelievable to me. Let me make sure I heard what I think I heard.
But they do it with money. And as progressives, we have to do it with people. And so, when you have a base that focuses most of its ire towards the people on their side, because YouTube algorithms reward that, you're just playing into the hands of.
Is she talking about us or Jimmy Dore specifically?
I'm sure she's talking about Jimmy because we're not that big. But I'm sure she's talking about Jimmy. She 100%. She may be talking about us. She may heard about us, but 100% Jimmy Dore. I would say that. Maybe us, but 100% Jimmy Dore for sure.
Yes,
that's what she's talking about. Because Jimmy got 1 million subscribers. They want to know
because she's talking about on the left, the YouTube algorithm rewards left infighting.
And
She's
not
saying
talking about TYT?
all the videos that Jimmy Dore does to critique the awful job I'm doing, she's calling that infighting. And then she's saying that the algorithm rewards that. So that's stunning.
You know she's talking about Jimmy Dore RBN, the Convo Couch. I'm gonna just say that's the Convo Couch, Jimmy Dore RBN left. You know they're talking about this because when she's talking about infighting, you think she's talking about TYT? You think she's talking about the Majority Report? Or you think she's talking about David Pakman? It's obvious who she's talking about when she says that. And then she
forced the vote. I mean, it was only one big name not one, because Justin Jackson was. It was a lot actually. Cornel West was in it, but the ones like forcefully publicly pushing it. Jimmy Dore was one of them. So yeah, I absolutely, because she's talking about YouTube. That's another thing. She's talking about YouTube. Who's bigger on YouTube on the left than TYT, and that's Jimmy Dore. I mean, singularly, it's Jimmy Dore. Like a single person network is TYT. But let's continue what she says here.
The capitalists who run those algorithms. And so I'm not saying that.
I was just about to say something. I was just about to say something. I was just, look how she's trying to act like she's down for that shit.
All these folks in these media outlets who stir these things up are bad. Far from it. There are incredible people doing very thoughtful work. But there are also a lot of people who make and determine what they're going to make their videos on based on YouTube views. And
based on YouTube views, we make our videos. Not you strike breaking.
Wow.
Not that. Not you getting a protest, an anti-war protest and looking like a clown. Not that. Not the $15 minimum wage. Not the kids in cages. Not your tweet that's not followed up. Not doing force a vote. Like, none of that is the reason why anybody does content.
Yeah.
It's just so we can put your name in the title for the algorithm.
I told you guys. I said this before. I in my live stream while I was covering Claire Daily. I wish that I could play a clip of Bernie Sanders or AOC on the Congress floor calling out NATO. I wish I can have a video of AOC and Bernie Sanders. Well, I'm like, God damn, they got the Ukraine issue right. Yes. You guys see what Bernie said on this issue? I said this multiple times. I want to do those segments. We got to look across the pond. I had to do a segment about Lula calling out Zelensky because you won't. You won't. We had to do segments criticizing you for not forcing the vote. We had to do segments for you about not you showing up to Medicare for all rallies because you didn't. Like you are messing up. And me and CJ, we talk about this behind the scenes before. Like they keep giving us content because it's unbelievable how bad they are. But the last thing I'm gonna say on this is probably the most interesting part in this entire video.
Yeah.
Out of the entire video, this is the most telling. This is the most interesting, and this is the most substantive part we get out of the video. Why do I say this? Because she brought up the YouTubers unprompted. Was there a question about the YouTubers? Nope. She brought that shit up, and like we said earlier before, we know she's talking about Jimmy Dore, and she knows we talking about our lane on the left. She's not talking about TYT Majority Report. So what does that tell you? This is why this is the most important part of this whole video. This shows you that AOC knows what they're saying, what we are saying about her. She sees those Jimmy segments. She sees those RBN segments. And it was up in there. We didn't know. She can probably just be insular, rich as fuck, not giving a fuck on none of this. The fact that she brought this up unprovoked is how you know that she's on the alt somewhere and she's seeing these goddamn videos. Or she hearing about, maybe she's not even watching. Maybe she's hearing about the videos from one of her interns, one of her friends.
Yeah. They're all in her Twitter comments.
There's a line of information that she get that so she knows what the YouTube left is talking about. And out of this entire video, I think that's the most significant part. That admission that she gave out. The admission that she knows that there's left criticism of her. But go ahead, let's continue. Let's continue, CJ.
And so I'm not saying that all these folks in these media outlets who stir these things up are bad. Far from it. There are incredible people doing very thoughtful work. But there are also a lot of people who make and determine what they're going to make their videos on based on YouTube views and based on algorithms. And those algorithms almost always reward left infighting. That's what's going to get you your clicks, right? And so you have to be really thoughtful about some of that and how you navigate in that, because at the end of the day, we still have very small numbers in Congress, and our central goal, at least ours, is in growing those numbers, which is why we're really excited this Congress to add to our existing squad. Like in 2014, we came in, it was just 4 of us. Then in 2018, we added folks like Jamal Bowman. We added, progressives. Other progressives. Cory Bush, of
Sorry, keep playing. That was funny as hell.
course.
That's the
And now
first name she said.
We have now added Greg Casar, Maxwell Frost, Delia
Maxwell
Ramirez,
Frost.
like many other progressives into Congress. And now, where we started with 4, we're getting a little closer to that double-digit representation. And that's when things start to get really interesting. Should we?
Oh, so that's the new threshold. They're gonna start hanging over our heads, Nick. This is the new bait, the new thing, that the new string along they're gonna have for us. We just got to get double digits now. Then we're really gonna fight, guys. Double digits. That's the new threshold now, huh? Okay, let's. It's almost done.
It's such a grift because Ilhan Omar literally tweeted out that we only need a handful of Congress people. We need about 5 Congress people. Now we need 10. Once we get 10, they say, "Oh, we need 25." It's gonna keep going. Oh, they're gonna keep raising the number over and over again. Let's continue.
You win back the House in 24, but this is a team sport. And I think a lot of times people think elections are just about set it and forget it. I'm just going to pull my lever for someone and let them do the work. And if you're that kind of person, I'm not sitting here to knock that. But if you are a left or if you are a progressive organizer,
you are absolutely knocking that. She's basically saying y'all need to come out and do some work. That's what she's getting to here. I can't believe she's doing that. She did a word salad for freaking 6 minutes, and then at the end to say, y'all need to get out here and do some work.
Oh my God, that's so fucking disrespectful, dude.
Oh God, let's
continue.
Should we win back the House in 24? But this is a team sport, and I think a lot of times people think elections are just about set it and forget it. I'm just going to pull my lever for someone and
look at that fraudulent slip.
And if you're that kind of person,
she says it's a team sport. What she's telling on herself? Does she not realize that? When she says that, you are admitting that you literally view politics as red versus blue. It is a team sport for you, not serious. And that's our criticism, CJ. Our criticism of them is that they view politics as team sports, and she just says it. Unbelievable. Let's continue. Unbelievable. She just said one of my main criticisms.
Or if you are
listen to this part right here. But she says, if you are a left person, and then they'll cut it off. Let's hear
for someone and let them do the work. And if you're that kind of person, I'm not sitting here to knock that. But if you are a left,
hang on a second here. I didn't go far back enough here.
Progressives to our existing squad. Like in 2014, we came in, it was just 4 of us. Then in 2018, we added folks like Jamal Bowman. We added, progressives, other progressives. We had Cory Bush, of course. And now this Congress, we have now added Greg Casar, Maxwell Frost, Delia Ramirez, like many other progressives into Congress. And now, where we started with 4, we're getting a little closer to that double-digit representation. And that's when things start to get really interesting. Should we win back the House in 24? But this is a team sport. And I think a lot of times people think elections are just about set it and forget it. I'm just going to pull my lever for someone and let them do the work.
She's saying here team sport as in y'all need to do some work. Us, the voters. As if she's doing something on the inside. But let's listen.
And if you're that kind of person, I'm not sitting here to knock that. But if you are a left or if you are a progressive organizer, what we need the most support in is support during game time, during legislating. And I can't tell you how common it is for us to look to guidance, look to the grassroots for guidance. And sometimes you don't hear anything until after something bad happens. And so a lot of what we're doing right now is building our infrastructure, not just internally, but also starting to invest and work with our outside partners in building up more of that infrastructure, that organizing infrastructure externally. And the fact of the matter is that the left in the United States has been persecuted at different points in history for a very long period of time. And as a result was really winnowed very much. And for people who may ask how or what or why, there are so many ways.
Do you guys remember the original question?
Look at
yeah, we can stop there.
You guys remember the original question? What the fuck does that have to do with the original question?
No, Nick, the reason I said I can stop it there because I was literally, the thought that was going through my head right when you were speaking was, I don't even understand what this video was supposed to be telling us here. I had no idea what that video was about. She went from talking about Lauren Boebert to giving all kind of excuses to omitting what the Freedom Caucus got. Like that was just a hot mess. That's all I can say. A hot mess.
He went on that long, incoherent rant to answer the question about why he didn't do what the Republicans did in 2020.